Next, a rock climber who broke his back during a fall last summer is preparing to get back on a mountain, this time one in a region where there are more polar bears than people. Jacob Lloyd from Yarnton broke his pelvis, 2 ribs and part of his spine when he fell down a cliff in Wales. At the time, he vowed to climb again. He came into the studio earlier and told me about what he's got planned.
Well, the really exciting next challenge for my life, for a few of our lives, is to go to Svalbard in the Arctic and try and climb some unclimbed mountains and do some new routes in the most punishing conditions you could possibly imagine.
I mean, it's a beautiful place. We've got some pictures of the area that you're going to be heading to. I mean, look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous. There are polar bears there who are absolutely adorable, but deadly, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely one of the hazards we have to take into account. All sorts of defences are required. You have to build a fence or the tripwire around your camp every night, so that you have a warning of when they're coming, and flare guns to scare them away. And you have to even carry a rifle by law on the island to make sure that you're well defended against polar bear attacks.
You've also got to take different kits with you than you would use in the UK for climbing a standard cliff face, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. At -40, climbing here in a t-shirt with bare hands on the rock isn't an option, so we'll be using ice tools like this to climb on the ice and on the rock, and crampons.
For anybody undertaking this kind of adventure, it's a big deal, but for you in particular, when you were so badly injured, it must be kind of intimidating in some ways, because your injuries are really serious. You broke your spine, you damaged your pelvis. How on earth did you kind of recover from that?
Well, I was shocked how quickly my body recovered. Broken bones are amazing at healing, so 8 weeks after the injury I managed to get back climbing properly. Although I've had a few niggles until a few weeks ago, now I'm back on the fitness training. But I think psychologically it was most difficult, much more than physically. Finding that, having never been frightened by falling off a route before, now after hurting myself so badly, I had to deal with that fear.
And you fell off because you made a mistake, didn't you, when you were climbing?
Absolutely. So I thought I was invincible. I made a mistake, but I've managed to get back through it, just deliberately taking as many falls as I can over and over and over to train my mind into remembering that safety systems do work and it can be completely safe.
You're not going on your own off into the Arctic, are you? Going with a couple of hardcore, really hardcore people?
Yeah, some very strong, very experienced mountaineers, one of whom did manage to recently run a full Ironman triathlon while his collarbone was still broken. But it's the sort of thing that you need in this sort of trip. It's all about suffering, essentially, not the kind of expensive holiday that some people might dream of, rather complete and utter suffering for 5 weeks. Freezing cold, never warm enough, everything frozen solid in the mornings.
It can be down to -40, can't it? And you have to do this huge trek before you even get to the mountain. That sounds dangerous enough to me. You have to do this trek across the ice and snow to get there.
Yeah, 180 kilometres or so of skiing, some glaciated terrain, so there's big crevasses that we have to negotiate. Yeah, a lot of things to think about, but it would be a really fantastic achievement, so aiming high.
At the risk of sounding like your mum, I hope you have a great time doing it, but you have to be really careful between now and then, don't you? Just not to get any more injuries.
Yeah, that's it. Train safe, but train hard.
Jake, we wish you the best of luck with it. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Still to come before 7 o'clock.